Welcome, everybody. I'm joined by Andy Talaga, and we're here to talk about a new Dead CCG, that being Guardians CCG. So this is a game that Andy's kind of hyped up to me a lot about the art and really how it was kind of inventive. So we're going to kind of go over the game, the history, what the cards look like, just some basic resources. If this stokes people's interest, then maybe we'll do more stuff. But this is just a kind of intro.
Yeah, so Guardians is one of those like very mid 90s CCGs that came out. It's a little bit convoluted in the rules. So for any like Guardian aficionados out there, I probably get a couple things wrong here. You can correct me in the comments, but for the most part, this is my understanding of how the game plays. So the game came out in like 1995. It was produced by FPG Games. I don't remember exactly what that's.
There's so many out of business game companies from this era, right?
Yeah, it's some game manufacturer in the mid 90s, and they actually put out another game that was like done with Brahm artwork. I forget what exactly it's called. It's not Deadlands. It's one of those ones. Anyway, but they so it's a mid 90s game. There's 4 sets, kind of 5 sets. There's a limited edition first base set, which doesn't have a actual title. It's just like base set, I guess. And then there's an unlimited version of that same set. So revised. So there's limited and revised. Then there's Dagger Isle, which is kind of like pirate themed almost, but it's got like that set was like massively printed. Like you can still buy it for like super cheap, and there's not really like a ton of cards that are really valuable. There's not many people really, I think, collect or play Guardians, but and there's just like infinite product of that set. Like most Dead games, when a set is like massively printed and it either doesn't sell or doesn't sell well enough because there's so much and the prices are down, manufacturers and game companies usually like pull back on the orders. And you see this in like literally every Dead game. There's like no exceptions to this. The next 2 sets are like very, very, very short printed. And it's like very hard to find these sets. There's, I'm going to get this wrong, Necropolis Park, and there's one other one, Drifter's Nexus, I think is the other one that's called. Anyway, yeah, Drifter's Nexus. They're both like super short printed, and like the last set, which is Necropolis Park, I believe, like common cards are like $8 a piece. Like,
is there a pretty robust collecting community here, or like is it just it's like a couple guys?
I feel like it's just a couple guys, which I will caveat and say that's a mistake. If you're into Dead CCGs, you should collect this game. This game is fantastic to play, and it has absolutely some of the most amazing artwork in the like if you like old style, either like like it's kind of like absurdist fantasy art where it's like so it's almost all done by like a really, really well-known fantasy artist called his name's Keith Parkinson. He passed away several years ago, I believe, but he's like really well known, in the he's not like Frank Frazetta known, but he's like up there in terms of like, if you're into fantasy art, you know who Keith Parkinson is.
Yeah, I think he did a bunch of Magic stuff as well. And
he did some. He did some other games. But yeah, so basically he did like all the art for the first couple sets, like all of the art. And then they brought in some other really well-known fantasy artists to kind of help flesh it out. Brahm being one of them. Brahm has a lot of Magic art as well. And so, but basically what it is it's you're taking on a role of basically like an elder god, right? Like almost like a Lovecraftian god.
It's a very
That'll,
familiar role for myself, right? It's just
you know,
very normal elder
yeah,
god role play.
yeah, exactly. In my spare time, I just pretend to be Azatoth. But yeah, you're basically an elder god, and you have you have an ability on your card, and it tells you how much life you have and stuff like that. And then you set up the board in a 3x3, no, sorry, a 4x3 grid. So that's where I said it's like very much like a board game. And so you start with a stronghold, and the stronghold is actually 3 cards. They're panoramic.
Oh, that's
Um,
cool. I like that.
and these are in your essentially back row. Like they sit in front of your elder god, basically. And they all have like a different ability. Like this one is +3 vitality to defending creatures, and no flying creatures can go into this space. And and then your opponent has that too. And then there's 6 spaces in the middle, which are like blank. So it's kind of like how the battlefield in Magic works, where it's not like it's like this amorphous zone on a table, right? But it's supposed to, like, in your mind, you would think that there's like almost like a chess or checkerboard. There's like 6 empty spaces, and you have different types of like creatures, basically. So like you have this is an ancient ogre, right? And you can play like I think up to 5 of any one card. So there's different types of creatures. I don't remember exactly what they are. These are like fantasy creatures, and then you have like god creatures. And again, anybody who's like super into Guardians is probably like cringing so hard at the way that I'm explaining some of these. And then you have like elemental creatures or something like that. You can play them all regardless, however you want to play them. And then what you'll do is you have like each creature has like a vitality, like an amount of life. Again, it's like that's a super sweet picture of a knight, right? And they have like a vitality, and you get these in order to like move your creatures around on the battlefield. Like you and your opponent are trying to contest these 12 spaces, essentially the 6 middle ones, and you have to control like a majority of the spaces on the battlefield to win the game and or kill your opponent's elder god, which is it's much easier to just control the spaces than kill your opponent's elder god, because you have to like burst through their panoramic stronghold, which are also spaces on the field, and attack them directly and stuff. And so it's like, why would you ever do that? Just control the spaces to win. But you get shields, right? And each shield has like an amount down here of like how much power or like vitality you can put underneath the shield, and your creatures are all face down under your shield, and then you like move them to different spaces. And if you and your opponent move into the same space, you basically play war, right? And but you can like stack it's kind of like how Young Jedi basically adopted this entire mechanic, which is if you've ever played Young Jedi, you make a stack of cards face down, right? And then you like flip them one by one off the top, and you compare, like that's how you fight. It's basically just war. And so like this one will be like you can maybe my knight who has 10 vitality faces your razor sliff. I don't know what that's supposed to be. And they have 5 vitality, so my guy wins, and like then he like keeps fighting until he dies, and then at the very end, whoever's left alive takes that space. And then in order to control the space, you have to put a terrain card. So there's like a billion different card types in this game. So it's a collector's dream in the one hand, because there's just like so many different things to collect. But you put a terrain on it, and then you can control that terrain and then continue to like move and like expand your influence on the board. And yeah, you're basically just trying to get like the majority of the spaces and or defeat all of your opponent's stuff. And like, I mean, there's a lot more like nuance to combat. Like your elder god can apply their ability to one of your characters, and your other characters can team up. And some people will be like, I'm +3 against knights and but -1 against fairies or ogres and blah blah blah, right? So there's like interplay between what cards do. So you kind of have to like think about how to like stack your cards, because you don't really know what your opponent has. So you're trying to like also create combos of cards within your teams versus what you think your opponent's going to have, because you can also tell how many cards they have under their shield. So like if they only have one card, you're like, oh, it's either going to be like really powerful and I need to like whittle it down, or like, you know, maybe I want to save my really powerful guy for the end to like beat him or something, you know. So there's a lot of like strategy and depth going in there. But yeah, the game looks fantastic, has really, really great art, has a lot of different things to collect. There's short print sets that you can collect. That
How
like,
big are the sets? Are they like 200, 300 card sets? Are they like giant? Or are they?
they're big. You know, the first set's like 350.
Oh, I hate that. I hate
It's
that.
an unlimited and a limited. There's also a crazy rarity structure where there's like ultra rares, rare ones, rare twos, rare threes, rare fours, uncommon ones, uncommon twos, uncommon threes, uncommon fours. Like, so like certain like rare ones are just like impossible to find. Like they just don't exist. like if you find them, they're like easily like $100 plus per card. And you'll need like 5 of them to play. Certain decks, maybe you don't need all 5, but well, you know, I would say your average rare is, I mean, there's even from like the base set, which was, except for the second set, which was like way overprinted. Maybe the most expensive card in the second set is like $10, right? But from the first set or the last 2 sets, you know, rare ones, which are like, you know, 1 per case, right? It's effectively an ultra rare, are probably like $20 to $40 a piece. Even to this day, like Category 1 Games, Scott Church, friend of the channel, has a huge Guardians section. They're just super expensive, you know, and but it's a great game. There's lots to collect. It was printed in 4 languages: English, French, 5 languages: English, French, Dutch, German, and Hungarian.
I love the inclusion of Hungarian. There's like that.
It's random,
always,
right?
yeah, I've seen a couple other games printed in Hungarian. I'm like, interesting, or like Polish, you know, like versus.
And but like, you know, like Lord of the Rings was known for that, but the Lord of the Rings TCG from Decipher just like has a huge, like any Lord of the Rings stuff has like a huge following in Europe, but like Guardians is like its own unique IP. Why did you choose Hungarian? Like such a random language. Like, why would you choose?
Yeah, it's like not actually a very popular country, right? Like,
Italian,
yeah,
like, I don't know, like places that in 1995 when this game came out had like
robust markets,
like markets that were defined from magic, like
yeah,
Portuguese maybe would be even like bizarre, but yeah. And there's a player's guide, the Traveler's Guide to the Mid Realms, and it just has like, I'm trying to flip through it, you know, so
sure.
it's got like some really great art. Has like game strategy. It's got how does the game work. It's got pictures of like. Let's see if I can.
Is there any platform to play this online right now? Is there like
on tabletop simulator?
Okay.
There's, I don't know if you know him. He's on the Dead CCG group. I don't know his actual name. It might be his actual name, but Fraud Jensen.
I've seen him, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, it's his favorite game of all time, and I'm gonna tell you, it's a pretty fun game. Like I tried it once with 2 decks, and I had a blast. Like the game's great, art's great, collectability's great, gameplay was fantastic. A little bit convoluted, but hey, it's a game from 1995. What game from 1995 is not convoluted? It just comes with the territory.
So I feel like sometimes these games have an advantage in that because they're not mainstream IP, there's always a small chance that someone's just going to have like, here's my Guardians collection for $30, right? It's just like, it's like the garage sale probability find is much higher than the Star Wars collection because everyone's like, well, Star Wars stuff is rare, I hear. So maybe I'll keep that, or Lord of the Rings, or whatever magic.
Yeah, but so Fred Jensen, he has his own channel on YouTube where he goes through like how to play, like very in depth. There's like 70 episodes of like
well,
how to play.
I will try to find a link to that, including
I can. I'll send you the link and you can put it in the show notes to his thing. There's a pretty active Discord. By active, I mean it's like the 10 people in the world that collect Guardians. They're all on the Discord and they talk all the time about Guardians and they're like super into it. And I mean, it's really refreshing to see like there's like, because they're just like so into Guardians and it's like, you know what? I can get behind that because this game's pretty sweet.
This is one of my fundamental rules of humanity, Andy, is people just want to see other people excited about stuff, whether it's watching people play StarCraft 2, right? It's like if other people are like, wow, like it's being part of something and seeing 10 people passionately obsessed with a game from
and like they put all the time into getting all of the cards coded and made and put onto Tabletop Simulator. And if you go onto the Discord, there's instructions on like how to download it and you can play. And there's like they'll play at any time. Like you can be like, hey, anybody want to play a game? And they'll be like, yes, absolutely. Like you'll have a message within like 2 seconds. Like they're like obsessed about the game. It's pretty wild to see. It's a good crew of guys over there, I think. Overall, like I have a lot of fun. But I got a pack of it here. This is limited. I guess I don't like opening sealed, but whatever. Let's open it and see what we get real quick. We'll just flip through the cards.
Sure, it's a great way to close this out.
They're very. It's very 90s in that.
What do the backs look like, by the way? Just so I can see the. Oh, okay, that's fun. Very playful.
Yeah, there's man, you're not even really probably gonna see it. There's this little blue dot here.
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
It's hard to even focus it. It's so small. That is the set symbol to let you know that this is a limited card. There's no card numbers and there's no rarity markers. So I have no idea what's rare in this pack. This is what I got. I got a Swamp. I got a Bone Shambler.
Love that.
I got a Axeman.
Okay.
I've got the Heels of Speed. It's very much like reminds me a lot of like a Discworld, where it's like this like very absurdist fantasy stuff. This is the Yard Rat. He's a pirate.
I actually like that art quite a bit.
I've got Grill Bus, which is a dog wearing armor with a mace.
Okay, I'm into it.
Primordial Goo. An Amber Well. Look at this. Another Amber Well. Fantastic collation there. Wood Spirit, not as bad as Wood Spirit from Magic and Legends, which is like notoriously the worst card ever made. I got Babe Hound, which is a dog with a rose. There's these type of cards that are called bribes. So like you can bribe your opponent's character and like retreat them back a space. There's Beer Bribe, which is just a picture of like 3 tankards of ale. There's Gold Bribe, which is like just a mountain of gold. And like each character has like a different bribe that you can bribe them with to like make them go away. And then, obviously because we're talking about like fantasy art from the mid 90s, there's Babe's Bribe, which is
I knew it. Here it is. I knew it. I knew it was coming.
Which just has like the most over the top, gratuitously like babe art. And you just look at it and you're like, in 2023, I would never be caught dead alive playing with this card.
We're going to go play this in public.
Yeah, I got another Grill Bus. Like I said, great collation. I got a Sleeping Spirit. And then this one's actually pretty sweet. It's a Vampire.
Yeah, maybe that's the rare. Although it's just a vampire, it's not like a unique vampire.
No idea what the rare is. It's probably not one of the cards that we got duplicates of.
It's a good guess.
But that's the game. It's pretty sweet. I highly encourage anybody to at least join the Discord and learn about it, because there's a super passionate group that loves Guardians. But even if you just want to collect it, it has just fantastic art, and it's really fun to just like flip through a binder and be like, this art's like, it's either like super serious and you're like, wow, that's an amazing piece of art, like holy crap, that's really good, or it's just like, that's hilarious, right?
Yeah, that's absurd.
Funny looking stuff. So highly recommend Guardians to everybody. Go try it out. It's
awesome. Well, Andy, thanks for sharing Guardians. And everybody, thanks for tuning in. And hopefully, if you like it, check it out. We'll leave links to like the Discord and some other resources so folks can go poke around, and maybe it'll turn from 10 to 12 guys. So
yeah, I'm in there. So come say hi to me. I need some greater energy elementals for my deck.
All right. Well, thanks for tuning in, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good one.